Hey, it is Mike the NBA guy. After I released my top 15 players video, which if you haven't seen yet, please go check it out. I was talking to some friends of mine who had seen it, and they both agreed that I had at least one player egregiously missing, and that is Klay Thompson. And they thought not only was it terrible that I didn't have him as an honorable mention, but he should have been in the top 15. And so, look, I did not forget about him, at least not completely. I just didn't think that he was better than the other guys I had on the list. However, they were very adamant, so they convinced me to go in and look at the stats and look at the information and, check myself and see if Klay Thompson should have been on the list. So that is what I'm going to do today. I'm going to look at Klay Thompson and see if maybe I actually should have had him on there, at least as an honorable mention. Excuse me. So let's get into that. Klay Thompson has had a pretty ridiculously consistent career. I never sat down and just looked at his actual raw stats before, and I can't believe this dude has never shot under 40% from three in his career. That's pretty insane. I mean, I consider him the second best shooter of all time, right behind Steph Curry, but never under 40% from three is absolutely ridiculous, especially considering he only has one season, being his rookie season, where he shot less than 6 3-point attempts a game. That's pretty ridiculous consistency. He's also super consistent with the field goal percentage. He's almost always shot around 46% from the field. The dude's just super frickin' efficient. Now, he is either the second or third option on the team throughout his career, but honestly, when Kevin Durant joined the Warriors, it didn't change much. His scoring changed by .2 when KD joined in 2017. His efficiency didn't really change. He really didn't seem to be affected whatsoever. And because of that, I think it's pretty fair to base how Klay Thompson is going to play next season. It's pretty fair to base it off of how he played the last several seasons. Because unlike Steph Curry, who had legitimate changes, Klay Thompson remained pretty much exactly the same player with or without Kevin Durant. So looking at his last season, all right, 21.5 points, 2.5 assists, 4 rebounds, and he did that on 40% from 3 and 47% from the field and 82% from the free throw line. He's also a very good free throw shooter, although not as elite as I would have expected. I mean, not that consistent, let me see, consistent 84, 85% from the free throw line is bad or anything. That's very good numbers, but I just kind of would have expected him to be bordering on 90% every year, and he's never really touched 90%. That's just a little interesting thing that I thought was neat. Anyway, so very impressive stats, and his stats for the 2 seasons previous are also super close. 20 points, 22 points, almost the exact same efficiency. Freaking police sirens, can you stop going off in the background? It's rough living in Delaware. Anyway, so very impressive stats. However, the stats on their own don't jump out at me as a top 15 player in any way. Now, and I think a lot of people are expecting Klay Thompson to have this big stat increase now that Kevin Durant is gone, and that he's been, scoring a little bit less and doing a little bit less with him there. But the stats show that in 2016, 2015, before I would say Klay Thompson's prime started in 2015 because that's when he pushed over 20 points a game. He excuse me, he had pretty much the exact same numbers in 2015 and 2016 as he did in 2018, 2019. They didn't really change. This dude was not really affected by Kevin Durant being there, because his role stayed the exact same. He went from a second option who was mainly a catch and shoot guy to a third option who was mainly a catch and shoot guy. And this was the big thing that the people I was talking to were arguing with. He's not just a catch and shoot player. He does stuff off the dribble. He does this, he does that. He kind of is, though. he just kind of is. Like Kevin, I mean, he had 14 threes, the record setting, and he had like two dribbles that entire game. Two dribbles for 14 three-pointers. He mainly catch and shoots. He's not taking people off the dribble, and they were telling me that he's a good playmaker, but he's never even averaged 3 assists a game. And that's in Golden State's system where they're very pass heavy. He has never averaged 3 assists. So that tells me it's pretty bad, especially because his turnover ratio is about 2 a game, and he's never averaged less than 1.5 turnovers a game, which would normally be a pretty good number, but for a dude with only 3 assists a game, that's not very good. Okay, so he's not a good passer, not a great playmaker or anything. His gravity is huge off ball for getting other people open, but, and this was the comment that really made my friends pissed at me. I said, on offense, he's basically David Bertans. He's basically a slightly better David Bertans, and they went livid. But look, he's a dude who catch and shoots a lot of threes. He does a little bit off the dribble. He can dunk once in a while, but like, he's not exactly an amazing player offensively. That's not true. He's an amazing player offensively. He's not a deep player offensively, I should say. So a lot of the guys who I think are going to be better than him next season, who I put on that list, Devin Booker, Jamal Murray, Donovan Mitchell, these are guys. Shut up, truck. Oh my goodness. Freaking, I need to close my windows for these videos. Just gonna wait for the garbage truck to go down the road. Alright, anyway, these are guys who can take their opponents off the dribble, who can be the main ball handler in the offense. Okay? These are the guys who can be not a Steph Curry, because that's pretty insulting, Steph Curry, but guys who can act as the focal point of the offense. I do not believe Klay could ever be a number one option on a team. I don't, because he's not enough of a ball handler. He's not a guy who you're going to give the ball and tell him to go do stuff. He's a reactionary player, and that's fine. He's the best role player in the NBA. I would still absolutely have him in my top 30, and in fact, I'd have him in my top 25, probably close to 20. But I would not have him over any of the guys I listed. Alright? I just wouldn't. I don't think he's really that good. Klay Thompson next year also, he's recovering from an injury. A very serious injury. Now, he's only 30, and it's not as serious as an ACL tear, and because he is not the first option, because he's more of a catch-and-shoot guy, I think that it won't affect him as badly as most players. However, being a step slower is not great. It's going to take a little bit of time for him to get the rust off, I think. And I think the main issue is his defense, because Klay Thompson has been a fantastic defender. He's been a borderline all-defense team guy for years, even if he only made one of those in his career. He's been a very good defender, and if that just makes him a step slower, it hurts his defense a little bit. And the league is so ridiculously talented right now. Little small things, if Klay Thompson comes back and he's only 90 to 95% of what he used to be, that's still enough for me to lower him on the list and take him out of my top 20, because first of all, I've never been as high on him as other people have. Alright? A lot of my friends strongly disagreed with me in 2018 when I said that Victor Oladipo was better than him, which I still stand by. 2018 Oladipo, I think, is better than Klay Thompson. But maybe that's for another video. The point is, no, I do not think Klay Thompson should have been in my top 15. I don't regret not having him as an honorable mention. He is still a top 25 player in the league, and I expect him to be an all-star, but I just think he's going to be slightly worse than he was before, and even what he was before, I'm not sure if I would put him over any of the guys I had as an honorable mention. So, hopefully, even if you don't agree with me, most of you understand my logic here. If you enjoyed the video, please drop a like. Once again, if you didn't check out my top 15, please go and check out that video. I did put a decent amount of work into it, even though the PowerPoint is not exactly the prettiest. But I am trash at PowerPoint, and it took me like a pretty long time to make that video compared to the rest of my content. So if you could do that, I would really appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel, and yeah, keep showing up for new videos. Thank you.